Good afternoon, Mr. Hebert. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
Can you pronounce it Hebert or Herbert?
Herbert, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Brandon Herbert, give us your full name and your Department of Corrections ID.
Brandon Herbert, 424915, Dixon Correction.
Good afternoon, Mr. Herbert. My name is Alvin Roche. To my left is Ms. Bonnie Jackson, and to my right is Mr. Pete. We'll compose your role panel. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. Once that information is in the record, we'll conduct a program review with you. At the appropriate time, we'll give one victim a chance to make comments, remarks, and observations. And we have two guests in support, Ms. Carly Heath, your aunt, and I can't pronounce that first name, it's Ms. Lewis, and she's your daughter. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and both of those would like to speak and make a statement on your behalf. After that, before we vote, we'll give you an opportunity to make a brief statement on your behalf. Do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
And let me pull up your paperwork. One second. Okay, you are Mr. Herbert. You are a second felony offender. Your offenses are second-degree battery, manslaughter. You were sentenced in St. James Parish on the second-degree battery on March 13th, 2000. You were revoked on February 12th, 2004. In Ascension Parish, you were sentenced October 27, 2003, and that was the manslaughter, am I right?
Yes, sir.
And you received a 3-year sentence in St. James and a 25-year sentence for the manslaughter in Ascension, and one was running concurrent. One was running consecutive to the other, but somehow the master record shows that you only have a 25 total sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But the 3-year sentence was supposed to be consecutive to the 25. Am I right?
They ran it together.
They ran together, okay. Your parole date is November 16, 2023. Your good time date is 18th, 2027. And your full term is August 17th, 2027. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Would you please answer his question?
Okay, Mr. Herbert, how old are you?
42.
Okay, and how long have you served on this sentence?
20 years and 9 months.
What's your educational level?
I have a GED.
You received that while you was in prison?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Looks like, why don't you tell us? I mean, I know what I read in the arrest report. Tell us what went on between you and Mr. Thomas and your girlfriend.
Well, I was leaving and I almost hit Mr. Thomas. And I stopped the car and we got into a fight. And while I was getting into a fight, he broke and left and went got a weapon and I grabbed a weapon. And I made a foolish choice by stopping the car. Thought I was being nice by checking on him. And we got into an altercation and we got into a fight. And one thing led to another. And I ended up stabbing him.
Okay, he wasn't stepping in between you and Miss Lewis because y'all were fighting and arguing?
No, sir. Miss Lewis?
It's Beatrice Lewis.
That's a second degree battery.
Okay, that's the second, okay. And did he knock you out
Yes, sir.
during the second degree battery? Okay, did you go get a weapon then?
Yes, sir.
And you later turned yourself in, correct?
Yes, sir.
Let's look at your criminal history. Back in '98, you had a contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile and carrying the illegal weapon. What kind of weapon was that you were carrying?
A handgun.
Handgun. Okay, in 1999, you were charged with attempted second degree murder, which was later dismissed. What was that about?
I believe that was I can't even remember. 99?
1890 in a St. James Parish.
Or incident with me and the guy having an altercation and I jug him. I ended up
Yeah,
stabbing.
You
Happened
did
on-
stab him, though. They just dismissed it later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had an altercation that he had a pool stick and I grabbed a knife.
You always got the knives around you a lot, huh? You gotta watch that. Then you got the aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon, just is one of the offenses we're looking at today,
Yes, sir.
which was completed, so we're not looking at it today. And your probation, you were on probation for that charge and it got revoked because of the instant offense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you have this charge for manslaughter,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you intoxicated on drugs when any of this happened?
No, sir.
Have you ever used drugs or ever been used alcohol?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Did you use it regularly?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever received treatment for it?
Here, by taking the classes, I just took it, you know what I'm saying, to rehabilitate myself, to get educated about things.
Okay, so what class over there?
Oh, I did several classes here.
You ever dealing with alcohol?
I took NAA and Alcohol Anonymous temporarily here.
Mm-hmm. Looks like you had anger management before.
Yes, sir.
When did you take that?
I believe in 08.
13. Okay. Celebrate Recovery. What did you get out of Celebrate Recovery?
It was a class where basically it was a spiritual class where it helps you find yourself and you know what I'm saying, and you better yourself.
Okay. Let's talk about your history while you've been at DOC. It looks like you've had 37 write-ups. Is that about accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your last three were on 8/11/21. you got, rule number 5 and number 3 twice, defiance twice, and aggravated disobedience. What's that about? What happened?
At that time, I was in a dark space. I was going through a lot, and I was right around COVID, and I was stressing, and I made a foolish decision. Stressing and made a foolish choice of mine. And I apologize. Ever since then, I apologize to the officer. From that day, I made a horrible mistake.
Okay, did you get in a fight that day?
No, sir. With the tree,
No. What was the disobedience? What did you do? What did you refuse to do?
cursing and fussing.
Cursing and fussing, okay. In 2020, September and July, you got 2 for fighting. What was that about?
At that time, like I said, it was me being the bonehead decision. Me and the guy got into it, past words. He threatened me and I fought him.
Okay. That it's concerning. So 2017, you've received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 write-ups, and most of them are either defiance or fighting. You took anger management before you got these write-ups or after?
Before,
So why didn't that kick in? I mean, what's the problem? You got a bad temper or what?
I can say that, sir. Be honest with you, I do. But I had to find myself, and find out really who I was.
You have a low risk, yes, man. Your needs is low. Your institutional record is poor, which is not a good thing. Warden, what kind of comments do you have about it?
I don't know if he mentioned, he is a trustee, and a pride member. So he has those 2 things going for him. And Mr. Freeman, first of all, good afternoon, Mr. Freeman, but I had a conversation with him too. He had his disciplinary record was very, very, very poor. And then his last write-up, like you mentioned, was at 3 in 21, but something has happened in that short period of time. I don't know, but he's actually done pretty good with his disciplinary history since 21. But he's a dorm orderly, I believe, on the compound over there. So I don't know. Like I said, you said it right. Pretty rough disciplinary history, but it looks like he started either has turned around, or at least heading in the right direction.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. At this time, what is odd is calling Heath, open your mic and give us your statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Carla Heath, Branda's aunt, and I'm here to attest that I believe Branda's, and I'm emotional, so please excuse me. I believe his years of incarceration have allowed him time to reflect, learn, and grow. I've heard the history, I've known, because he and I has been nothing but transparent to each other. And though it's taken him some time to get to this point, I strongly believe he is prepared to go out and make a positive societal contribution. He's been able to transform his way of thinking, his way of reacting, his expectations of others, accept his own choices, and more importantly, he's become a better him today than he was yesteryear or yesterday. He's learned to take one day at a time and to filter everyday life truth through God's word. Brendan and I talk weekly. He's grown from being closed-minded to open-minded, from self-centered to having self-control and being selfless. He's learned to put others before himself. And more importantly, he understands that there is something greater in him than those things that are in the world surrounding him. I firmly believe Brandon has made the necessary changes that are required to support him going back into society and have a positive effect. Additionally, the Brandon changes has grown through the changes that he's grown through is reflected in his conversations and his actions. And if I did not believe that, I would not be on this call today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heath.
Sure.
Ms. Lewis is in person at DCI. Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Lewis,
Yes, sir.
would you like to make a statement?
Yes,
Take a
sir.
seat.
Thank you. How you guys doing?
How you doing?
I'm just Shay Lewis, Brandon Herbert's daughter. I would like to say it's been a long journey not having my father in my life. It's been a long 20 years. I'm currently 24. So like we have lost out on a lot of time. And I know for a fact the man that he wants to wear with the stories and the record, he is no longer that man, because my father not only counsels me over the phone and even through visits, like I've made young, dumb mistakes and he's held me accountable. He doesn't, just because he's in the position that he's in, he still holds me accountable. There's no such thing as I can do it because he did it. He always have made me realize that where he is not somewhere I would ever want to be. And a couple years ago, my grandmother passed, and that's who raised me, his mother in 17. And since then, I have really been on my own, and I would love to have my father back in my life, even though we've lost 20 years, but that's 20 more, and 20 more after that we can have together. I'm sorry.
Take your time, take your time.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry. It's been a long road, and I know for a fact when he comes home, if you allow him to come home, I will hold him accountable just like he held me accountable. Just like I can go out and make young, dumb mistakes, I want to make sure he doesn't make those mistakes. He has learned from choices that he made when he was younger, and I know for a fact, and no time soon, but one day he's going to be a grandfather, and I know for a fact he will be a great grandfather. I know for a fact he would be a better grandfather than he was able to be a father, because just like he held my hand through so many difficult times, he held my hand. And I know for a fact he'll hold my child's hand when that day comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Mr. Herbert, would you like to make a brief closing statement?
I want to let you all know and the victims know that I'm really, really remorseful of the situation that took place, and if I was to get another chance, what I'm saying, I would do my best, try to make it up to any and everybody that I can. I don't even know what to say, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert. Is the panel ready to vote?
Okay, Mr. Herbert, your violent criminal history and your supervision record since you've been in prison really concerns me. You're sitting there with a wonderful family and wonderful backup. It seems you have a lovely daughter, but I think you need a little bit more time, go back. I would take anger management again and then reapply when you're eligible again. Vote today is going to.
Ms. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Herbert, you've been in prison over 20 years. So I to this hoping I can give a person relief after they serve much time as you serve. I really but it does concern me. I mean, you obviously have a really quick temper. You know, and staff 2 people, one of whom died. You've had 6 write-ups for fighting. You've had recent write-ups for aggravated disobedience and defiance. Even though your risk is low, you're high on antisocial thinking. That means your thought processes have some issues that you need to work on. You know, our goal isn't just to let you out. Our goal is to make sure when you get out, you've got every opportunity to be successful. I just feel like not yet. I think you're getting close, but not yet. So my vote likewise is going to be denied, but encourage you to retake anger management. If you haven't taken thinking for a change, take thinking for a change. Don't have any more write-ups, and then apply again when you're at, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So don't take this as a no, take it as a not yet. You got a little bit more work to do. And if you do that work, then the next time you'll probably have a different outcome. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Herbert, you received 2 votes to deny your request. I too will agree with my colleagues, and I'm going to vote also to deny your request based upon general disciplinary conduct unacceptable, 4 or 5 fights, you're in for 2 violent offenses. I think you have some. You have a good day.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day too.